Hello, my name is Judy, and this is assignment 1.3, Big Data. The Oxford definition of big data: extremely large data sets that may be analyzed computationally to reveal patterns, trends, and associations, especially relating to human behavior and interactions. The big data era is upon us. With increased computing power, high-speed internet, and technology costs decreasing, it is now time to innovate or be left behind. Big data will allow the company to analyze potentially unknown markets of revenue while increasing efficiency and reducing manpower costs. There are four main characteristics of big data because that is thrown out around a lot. But these are four main characteristics of big data. You have the volume, just the sheer amount of data that is coming through and being produced. For example, a single jet engine can produce around 10 terabytes of data in 30 minutes of operation. That is a lot of data. And just take that for a company of our size, how much data we generate as a whole. But luckily, with the increased processing power that is available and the reduction in storage costs, we are now able to take all this data and process it more efficiently. Next, you have velocity. Velocity is just the sheer amount of volume that's constantly streaming in. You have all the different sources like Twitter, Facebook, Google, news feeds, RSS feeds, etc. This generates that constant stream where we need to be able to analyze, process it, and get it into the hands of the decision makers in a timely process. Okay, variety. There are such a variety of formats of the data. You have basic ones that most people think of like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but then you have all these additional ones from the previous examples that I gave. And the value. Among all this data, there are valuable bits of information and insight that can be gained. It might not be easy to recognize, but that's why we're here to go ahead and try and find it to make our company more efficient and increase the profits. Big data by the numbers. I found an article in Forbes magazine which published a survey from the Economist Intelligence Unit of 476 executives from around the world. 60% feel that data is generating revenue within their organizations. 83% say it is making existing services and products more profitable. 89% consider data and analytics to be vital or very important to their company. And lastly, 69% feel that there is a business case within their companies to set up a dedicated internal data and analytics unit with the purpose of exploring new ways to add value through the data projects. Okay, so with the numbers that we came up with for our group for this presentation, after analyzing it with an effective BI solution, our company can increase productivity 18% and increase revenue 11% over the course of a 2-year design and implementation schedule. So as you can see, everybody, the whole market and companies and trend are moving towards the big data. Now, setting up something like this is not going to be easy. There are certain challenges that you're going to face. Some of them include data integration, data volume, whole system cost, skills availability, and timelines. So data integration is just taking all this information from the different sources, and I'll show you on one of the next slides, and being able to store it together, process it efficiently. Then you have the data volume. All the databases need to be organized, set up. Whole system cost. For these solutions, most of the time and startup costs are a big chunk of the whole program. So we need to keep that in mind if we go this route. Now, skills availability. This is a new and emerging system, and there's a shortage of people with the knowledge and skills to acquire, process, and analyze the results. But we have a good team in place, so we think we can go ahead and we're good on that front. And then timeliness, trying to get the information to the decision makers in a timely manner so it can be acted upon accordingly. Now, the enterprise data warehouse vision. So as I was saying before, you have all these different systems that our company has that we need to focus and put them together into an enterprise data warehouse Some systems are legacy systems, we might have to replace them, but a lot of these systems can be merged into one where we can pull reports, data, and information out of a whole system instead of trying to piecemeal and go from one to another. That makes it way more difficult. So we need to spend the time to get this data warehouse set up properly. Now, what are we trying to accomplish here? Well, what we're trying to accomplish is bring order to the data. We have all this data, we need to bring it together, consolidate it, and then process it as a whole unit. Build a good foundation that supports current and emerging technologies. So when we build this system, we got to make sure that it's adaptable to future needs. Work on building the best solution for the company. Keep the solution roadmap aligned with the company's structure and culture. And lastly, keeping all these things in mind, we want to keep it easy to use. So we don't want to just have an IT specialist being able to process this data. We want to have it so everyone can analyze and view this data. Data governance and integrity. Okay, so how are we going to monitor this information? So we're going to do routine quality assurance driven scans for data profiling. We're going to have individuals that know the numbers and the data and make sure it's correct. So it's not just the IT person, but the actual subject matter expert for that area to make sure the data is good. And then we can incorporate a system process that allows for the data clearing and cleaning to get rid of anomalies or errors. And then lastly, we can set up a business glossary, historical archiving, and tracking section. Kimball's dimensional model. This model is critical to successful data warehouse initiative. So what it does, it's an in-depth building of fact and dimensions tables that make for an effective data warehouse. So you can see the example figure 1-4 at the bottom of the slide here. You have the different dimensions and facts, and we bring this all together, and the power of the data warehouse is directly proportional to the quality and depth of the dimensional attributes. So the more time we spend on building data sets with rows and columns of attributes or characteristics, the better the data warehouse will become. So a lot of this information in the beginning, we're going to have to take the time to build it so we can access it any number of ways. So we need to separate it out as much as we can so we can look at it from different angles. And fun fact, Ralph Kimball didn't invent the terms. They were made up back in the 60s from a joint research project between General Mills and Dartmouth. He even says that in his book, but the name stuck. So in conclusion, I highly recommend approving Project Big Data. So with the current timing in the industry, falling technology cost, a highly skilled team in place, there will never be a better time for this project to succeed. We have a solid plan. We have more in-depth information if you'd like to view it, but we strongly encourage you to move forward with this plan because any delays will cause the company to lose out on untapped resources, market gains, and potentially lose the competitive edge in today's industry. Thank you.